Here we are about to butcher our very first chicken. Now this is me, this is Johnny, and Mr. Robert, who's going to be teaching me how to actually butcher a chicken, because believe it or not, I've actually never done it before. The first thing we had to do was this batch of the chicken. You could see that Mr. Robert grabbed the chicken, put it in between his legs, held up the head, and you could see what he did with the knife there. By holding the chicken upside down for a couple minutes, bacterial growth inside the chicken will be reduced and the meat will have a longer shelf life, which actually isn't that big of a deal for what we're doing right now, because these chickens will be eaten only in a couple days on Thanksgiving Day. After holding the chicken upside down for a couple of minutes, probably 5 to 10, Johnny helped me wash off the granite table so that I could butcher the next chicken. So after getting it all cleaned up, washing off everything that was on it, I grabbed the chicken out of the cage, and this is actually our blue lace red Wyandotte, the biggest hen we have. It was finally my turn to butcher a chicken. So you just hold it like this here?
I just hold him like that and get him with the right. Grab the hold his head right there, hold it up and get it right there.
Oh, okay.
Cut that main vein. Hold his head and get him right there. That way you're cutting that main.
Oh,
that
where
main
it bleeds
vein.
out? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, there we go. Does he get moving a little bit when I do it, or no? Oh, I feel it coming out. When I was about to butcher this chicken, I did something I wasn't supposed to, and I actually went way too slow when cutting it, but thankfully I got it back in place and was able to finish it off. And after dispatching of the blue lace red Wyandotte, I got her, held her by her feet upside down, and waited till her muscle responses were completely done. Now after this, we had finally dispatched of all the chickens, and came step number 2, which was plucking. We didn't have a boiler or some sort of plucker, we only had our hands, so we didn't boil the chickens in hot boiling water or anything. We just used our hands to pluck off all the feathers, and Mr. Robert showed me exactly how to do that. These 2 chocolate silver laced Orpington hens were most definitely the easier ones to pluck, but the blue laced red Wyandotte chicken was the harder one to pluck, as you'll see later what actually happened with it. Now while we were plucking these chickens, we had to grab all the feathers off and make sure the quills came with it. So I started the first chicken, which I ended up doing the other chocolate silver laced Orpington, and I didn't realize how hard it would be to get the quills out. Johnny came over and brought the blue lace red Wyandotte so he could start plucking out the feathers, and originally it was quite hard for him, but he eventually got the hang of it and started pulling out the feathers. This part by far took the most time. Plucking always takes the most time whenever you do it by hand like we did, since we didn't have a boiler or didn't boil them in hot water. Boiling them in hot water also allows not to happen what happened here. Now you can see with the blue lace red Wyandotte everything was fine until after plucking for quite a while, Johnny had realized there was a rip in the skin, so Mr. Robert had to immediately start skinning the Wyandotte. Since it was my first time doing this, I was extremely slow at plucking all the feathers, but you could see that Mr. Robert had gotten his done much faster than I did, and my hand was not even close to halfway done when he finished. While we finished plucking the feathers, Johnny gave his thoughts as to what all this was and how he felt about it.
Do you like butchering chickens?
It's so-and-so.
So-and-so? Well, it's good meat, right? Do you like chicken meat?
I never tried it.
You never tried it?
I only eat chicken KFC.
Yeah, KFC, that's also chicken, right?
I know, but I never tried like chicken that they haven't like steamed or...
Well, you can put chicken in an oven or in a microwave oven, or, you know, make chicken nuggets out of it.
Mr. Robert had finished plucking his entire chicken, so it was time to cut the neck, and finally the chicken was done plucked and butchered, but now it was time to gut it and get all the intestines and all the insides out. Now after Mr. Robert had finished with that chicken, I was finishing up plucking my chocolate silver laced Orpington while he was over there skinning the blue lace red Wyandotte that the skin had come off, because immediately you have to do that because then it won't be good, since it's very hard to pluck the feathers out with the skin being detached from the body. After the Wyandotte was skinned, it was my turn to cut the neck of the chicken I had plucked, and it took me a little while because I was a little bit slow with it at first, but finally I got it and it looked like a nice butcher chicken, but now we had to get all the insides and gut it out. While Mr. Robert showed me how to gut out the entire chicken, we first made a slip in the butt area and we already took the crop out, so that was completely done. And the next thing was sticking our hand through that slit in the back and pulling out all the guts, the heart, the lungs, and everything all at once. You can see that after detaching everything from the inside and scooping it all out, it looked really nasty, but that's just everything on the inside of the chicken, and thankfully we were able to get it out perfectly without anything rupturing inside. Now after getting all of the intestines, the heart, the lungs, the liver, and all that stuff out, you guys are probably wondering what I'm gonna do with it. Well, here in a couple minutes I'm gonna give it to the chickens and you guys are gonna get to see their reaction. Now we have to gut every single chicken, so I'm going to do the next one and show you guys how I did. I actually didn't do that well with it, but you'll see then. After discovering everything that was inside, Mr. Robert handed it to me so that I could bring it into the chicken coop. And when I set it on the floor, they went crazy for it. You guys might be surprised or maybe not. But believe it or not, the chickens really like the insides of another chicken, which sounds not good, but it just is how it is. They were really curious about it at first and started picking it up, twirling it around, and just trying it, but after everything was said and done, they ate the entire thing. Did you guys think they would do this? Now after feeding the chickens the insides of that hen, we had to get the rest of the crop and the guts and all that stuff out of all the other chickens. So Mr. Robert was doing that, and after this I'm going to try and get it out of the very last chicken, and we'll see how that goes. Now you could definitely tell that this was my first time doing this because I had almost no idea what I was doing apart from what Mr. Robert had showed me. It was a little bit hard to detach everything from the walls of the inside of the chicken, and when I stuck my hand in there, it felt very slimy and very warm. It was a really interesting and weird feeling. I almost got everything out, but I wasn't really able to get most of it out, so Mr. Robert had to help me with the rest of it. Now if you're gonna butcher a chicken the way that we did it today, it takes quite a bit of practice, so you might want to prepare a couple chickens in advance just to try it out. Now after everything was said and done, I had to wash out and rinse out the rest of the chickens. I put water inside the chicken to make sure none of the intestines was ruptured in there and it would spoil the meat, so it was all good. And after rinsing off the first chicken, I rinsed off the rest of them and put them inside of plastic bags and inside that white cooler you see right there. Now this was my first time butchering chickens, and I want to say thank you to Mr. Robert and Johnny for helping me do that. I learned a whole lot. Alright, well we just finished butchering the 3 chickens and Mr. Robert showed me how to butcher them. We first made sure the chicken was dead, and then plucked the feathers out, and then skinned the chicken, and then took the legs off, then rinsed it off, and that was it. It took a little while. It could be a little bit easier with some different things, but I really appreciate you showing me how to do this. So.
No problem.
Yep, it was pretty good. 3 chickens down.
3 chickens down. Can't wait to eat them.